Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is your instructor Joy. Thank you very much for your continued support here on YouTube and Patreon as well. That means a lot to me. My goal is to be able to dedicate more time on these videos to share my knowledge with you, and every single help and donation that would be a very helpful. Thank you very much. But even if you can't, welcome and thank you for joining me here. So in this video we're going to talk about 10 techniques to master for intermediate level players. 5 techniques on the right hand, 5 techniques on the left hand. Now I came up to a vague term of what intermediate level player means. Of course it's all relative, everybody learns at a different speed, everybody has different amount of time they can dedicate to violin practicing. So take this one as a vague guideline. It's not a must, it's not the only way, but just to give you an idea what I expect from my teaching studio. So when I think about intermediate level player, I generally think of somebody who's been playing violin on a steady way, on a regular basis, from 2 to 6 years. Of course, it's more or less. When we get into intermediate level playing, it's no more just playing the notes or playing the notes right or playing the correct rhythm. Even though that's very important, but when you enter intermediate level, I want my intermediate students to be able to have a little expressive sound, knowing how to do a correct bow distribution, know how to do bow speed adjustment, know how to use pegs, or know how to care of your violin generally, keeping eye on the bridge shape, whether it's correct or not. And all my students should know, when they're intermediate level students, know how to change strings, so that you don't always have to rely on others to help you for basic care, but you can take care of your violin in a basic way. But of course, if you're more specific, you have to go to specialist or luthier, but you should be able to take care of your basic tools and know how to use them. I'm going to talk about a couple of general things that I expect from my intermediate students. Then I'll go into specifics of 5 techniques on each hand. Another thing that I expect my intermediate students to master or know would be the terms, several terms. Like we use on the string or off the string. On the string meaning the bow starts and ends while being on the string. Off the string means the bow starts away from the string and finishes away from the string. So like that. Because in this level we'll be talking about many different types of bow stroke. There are several musical terms now that you should be introduced to, such as like ritardando, meaning slowing down. Often at the end of the song we slow down, not always but often. Or accelerando, meaning getting faster. Rubato, stretching the rhythm or stretching the beats. Or coda, knowing how to read coda sign. Da capo, go to the beginning. Da capo al fine, go to the beginning and finish where fine sign is. Dal segno, know how to read segno sign. Things like that. I also expect from my intermediate students to know how to produce basic dynamics and understand what dynamics terms are. Crescendo, gradually getting louder. Decrescendo and diminuendo, they're both same, gradually getting softer. And subito. Subito means sudden. So if it says subito piano, means suddenly piano. Subito forte, sudden forte. And of course forte piano, and so on. Of course there are more, but that's something general knowledge that I want all my intermediate students to know. Now let's go to techniques, 5 techniques on the right hand. Here I want all my students to understand the physics of the bow. The bow is curved meaning in the middle there's a little slight dip, which means we have to understand the physics of the bow. In the middle, it has a natural way of wanting to bounce off, because that's we're gonna use it. So, and then also we have lots of hair. If we use flat hair, produce bigger sound. If we tilt the bow hair facing us, it produces less sound. At the same time, if we use flat hair, it bounces away a lot, whereas when we tilt the bow, it bounces less. So we can use that either off the string stroke or if we want to control the shaky bow. So now, 5 bow strokes that I want all my intermediate students to master. First one is spiccato. Spiccato is something like this. So here we understand where the bow, so understanding of bouncing spot. So there bouncing spots, there are many bouncing spots, but somewhere starts from the middle towards about quarter from the front. So about this part. Depending how fast, how slow it is, you have to know how to do spiccato. Make sure it's now nice and resonant when you do that. Next one is collet. Collet is this. Mozart used a lot of so Mozart has a lot of this collet bow stroke, but also collet itself, even though we don't always use collet stroke a lot, it's very important because it trains our thumb to be very active, or all 5 finger joints very active, which plays a crucial role when it comes to mastering difficult bow strokes, this level and advanced level. So for that reason, collet is crucially, I cannot emphasize enough, one of the most important bow stroke in the intermediate level player, if not the most important. So it goes like this. If I can show my thumb something, can you see that? Oops. So collet stroke, very important for its own bow stroke sake, and also for further development for your nice different fancy bow strokes. Martelle is next one. Martelle is a one. So a little like staccato but rather longer stroke and has a little bite at the beginning. Sautiller, another bouncing bow stroke, but this time it's not on the string, not off the string like spiccato, but on the string. But you have to understand the nature of the bouncing spot of the bow, which is a bit in the middle. So this is sautiller, knowing how to do. Here we have to use a very flexible wrist and then place the bow in the right spot. And then last one, 5th one, tremolo. Tremolo is something that you put bow on the string, often near the tip of the bow because it's a lighter part of the bow. And then you just shake your hand nicely while keeping all finger joints nice and flexible. Like that. We use this one a lot, especially in orchestral repertoire. So a lot of intermediate level tend to join orchestra at some point, so that would be great bow technique to learn. Now my left hand, 5 techniques to master. Here we have to master the vertical, so falling finger movement, and horizontal movement, sliding movement. Now, so here you should be able to play not just the first position, but you should be introduced to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th position. If you can get onto the 6th position, that would be even better. But if you go up to 5th position, that would be already great. So there's another video that I made about shifting and about thumb position and left hand position. I encourage you to check it out. It's important to know as you get higher position, knowing how to place your left hand, especially when you go to 5th position, the thumb goes under the neck and then your left wrist goes slightly to your right, because we have bigger body there, so we have to place that one. So for that reason, it's important to understand how to place your left hand and also understand the distance from one position to the next. 1st to the 2nd, 1st to the 3rd, 1st to the 4th, 1st to the 5th, or 3rd to the 5th, and so on. The next one is I want all my intermediate students to be able to play with vibrato. Make sure the vibrato is under your control. Sometimes I see students playing vibrato very fast, but if I ask them to slow down or to make it wider oscillation, sometimes it's a little difficult. That means the vibrato is not under our control, but hand is shaking. So that's not what we want. You should be able to control the width, slow or fast, or wide or narrow. So make sure you should be able to control the speed, the width of the vibrato. So that's where you want to be. Then now, since you're introduced to second, third, fourth, and fifth position, I want all my intermediate students to be able to play at least 2-3 octave scales. So in the 2-octave scale, you're probably going to get introduced to the third position. You should be able to know how to shift up and down nice and relaxed way. Here we're talking about horizontal movement. When you shift, make sure your fingers are not too pressed, too heavily down, but light fingertips so that you can glide nice up and down. When you play 3-octave scales, it's a good idea to use first, third, and fifth position. Sometimes it goes first, third, and sixth position as well, which is also fine. Because the left hand from fifth position or sixth position is not too different, because thumb stays about the same. For sixth position, we turn our left hand a little more to our right. Yeah, but that's also a good alternative. Now, fourth one on the left hand. I want all my students, or my intermediate students, to start playing double stops. Double stops are great for two things. One thing, it helps us to develop our hearing, because here we're doing a lot of just intonation. We have to adjust the fingers, so it's a great way to start playing. So by the time, you should be able to know how to tune your violin in perfect fifth, which is open string. And so you're not completely new to double stops. But here I want my students to be able to play interval of 6. 6 is from 6 steps from one note to the next. Let's say from E to C. So E, F, G, A, B, C. So that would be interval of 6. So that would be 6. Yeah, let's see. Or D to B. And then interval of third. So let's say F to A, F, G, A. So third, F and G. Or on and on. And I also want all my intermediate students to start playing octaves, but not finger octave of 1, 3, 2, 4, but using only first and the fourth finger. So here, so this will help us to build nice left hand frame as we get higher and lower positions. And at last, on the left hand, I want all my intermediate students to know how to play trills. Trills are this. So now, trill is one of a good example of a dropping finger exercise, vertical movement. Here, make sure the fingertip is nice, light and elastic movement, not too heavy because it will slow us down. And also do not neglect the pinky trill, which is hard. So try to train the pinky trill as well, because at some point we'll have to do a double stop trill as well in advanced level, and then that's going to be very helpful. Yeah. So there was a lot of lists. I tried to condense it in a short form as much as I can, but as you know, in intermediate level there are more things to master. But let me know how your practicing is going, and always, every single step counts. Nobody learns everything at once, but one step at a time, little by little, we all get there ultimately. But patience is a key. Patience and persistence. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you again. Happy practicing. Bye.